stuff because we are going to work with ink today.
I've got a whole pad of this purple job if anybody wants some.
Or shall I do the little Zoom voice? Recording is in progress. That's a sharp.
So does anybody not have graph paper? The good smoothy one? You're all good? Chris, you got some?
I did. I'm pretty sure I have something last time.
Okay. So have that in front of you, please. We're just going to do a brief resume of what we've done so far. You've got 2 new handouts today. This one here is with, and what I ultimately want you to end up doing is with the split pen nib. And look what a nice job it does. It just makes it gentler and elegant, and of course it adds light, and always that sort of illuminates your letters. But good morning to everyone, especially those of you at home.
Good morning, teacher.
So if I just remind you that everything we say is being recorded, so we have to, you know what I mean. Okay, so let's just have a quick, see if anything stayed in your memory from before. I would like you today to be working with a red pen. If you don't have one, please come and get a new one and open it. You don't have to buy it, but I do want you to use it because I want to work in this size. It's important for proportion, scale, symmetry, balance, and everything. So if you have a red cap, that's great. If you don't, come and borrow one. I have an extra one here that's open. I'm going to zoom, is that okay?
Yeah, you do what you need to do. It should stay focused. I think
Okay.
a lot for focus. Yeah.
So, deep breath, feet on the floor. So let's just,
Lower down, please.
sorry, let's just,
Was this one of last week's worksheets? Not the empty graph paper, but no, you've given me 2. One says Romans and one says,
I've got extras of everything. What is it you're missing?
well, I've got nothing that resembles the sheet you started on.
Yeah, but we're moved on from that, so that this is the new,
That one? Got that one?
Yeah.
that's what you need. Take
That's
one
the
of
ones
those.
that Judy's working with today.
Here.
You've got that one. Okay, I thought the one you had said something different at the top.
I did. We did start with a basic one, but it's in your email. You can print it off when you go. You won't need it today.
It should be in here somewhere.
Okay,
I'll find you one at the break.
thank you.
I think what the way we're going to work today is just I will do it and you will follow if that's all right. So remember, let's just revise. Remember that the pen is, this is a parallel pen, right? And there's a slot. So look at your pen and make sure that your air bubble is at the top as you're writing, because you'll get less spurting when you're pressing too hard. So let's just, with the corner of the pen, I want you to get used to rolling the pen in your fingers. I want you to draw, just like I'm doing here, a 4x4 box. Very, very light pressure. This is very good for pen control. And do that with a gap between 5 times, please. Now when Chris does it, it will be dead straight and dead precise. When I do it, it's kind of messy. Whoop! It doesn't really matter. This is our framework that's just so helpful. Just while you're getting these forms into your brain in a way that once you've got it in there, that it'll never leave. Even when you're freehanding Romans, after you've used this framework, it will be in your head, oh no, that doesn't look right. And how can I make it look right is to do this kind of exercise. Okay, let me know when you're ready. And I'm going to go over here and do a 4x3. And I'm going to do quite a few of those as well, maybe 7. I know this is a drag, but it is also pen skills. I'm just kind of forcing you into using the training wheels. It's very easy to get these wrong and get the wrong number of boxes, and then it totally changes how the form looks. So it's worth taking the trouble to do this. And lastly, our favourite for the letter S, 2 wide, 4 down. So this paper is a dream. A lot of graph paper is what I call dollar store scratch pad, and it bleeds like crazy, and you can't really do the work on it. It's okay if you're working with pencil though, and so there's nothing wrong with that. If you've got some kind of a chisel tip on your pencil and you just want to review the forms again, but this way we'll have what we need. So when you get to the end of that painful little process, let me know and we'll get started. Okay, so now we're going to go to, in the first column, we're going to the round letters. Now, pen angle, draw yourself a right angle here.
I can't see what you're doing.
I'm sorry. Draw yourself a right angle over here, and then go diagonally across. And then come down a third. And that's the angle I want you to have your pen nib resting on. And if you pull down, you get a nice medium stroke thickness. Come on in. Oh. Okay, so let's go back to box number 1. Now, the form is, unfortunately with the Romans, perfection. This is a human hand. It's so hard to obtain without your compass, a perfect circle. But that's what we're aiming at. So let's have a try. Pen on, and let's go back to the pen here. Get my pen at the correct angle. Bubble at the top. And at 11 o'clock, let's just take off that first corner, pressure here, down to the corner and over to the middle and lift off. You should get a nice thick and thin there. Now to go back to the just sort of right here, layer the pen on. Don't start where you left off, but go back a bit so you don't get any perceivable join. And again, keep going, push right out to the O, and you should have a really nice looking O. If you're not happy with it, it's okay. But we're just reviewing the theory. So let's go down one. And the same again for the first stroke, the crescent moon stroke.
So you're absolutely keeping that same pen angle all the way around that?
Yes. Generally speaking, with all italic hands, once you establish the pen angle, this is where the movement should come from. It should be like one of those robotic drawing arms, right? The pen itself is not moving. It's like an owl's head. The body is moving, but the head stays constant. So keep it as constant as you can. If it starts losing definition, if you start losing thick and thin, you pretty much know that you've let it migrate to straight or horizontal or something. So you can always go back to your little chart and check. So here we are at the beginning of C, so we've done the first crescent stroke. Now we're picking it up and we're going all the way over, and we're turning, and we're going back up. I'll just show it to you as a stroke. Maybe I should have gone through this. Would you like me to go through the strokes first? Would you like to review the strokes, or do you want to just do this?
Just keep going. Just go ahead.
Okay. So the cap stroke for the C is this. I'll do it in a big pen so you can see it clearly. So you remember we reviewed last week where we go along and we turn. So the cap stroke is a little curve, and then we stop and turn without lifting off onto the corner and back up. So over in some blank space, just have a go with that. Up and over and turn. It won't look as dark as this because I'm using a giant pen. This is the pen size that I want. 2 squares wide and turn. If you want to, you can go down and back up a bit more to the line and block that in if you like that look. I don't. I like this nice elegant one myself. So an S has a 2 square top, and the C has a 3 square and turn. So let's go back to the box and see, is there anything wrong with this C of mine here? Yes, there is. What is it?
Bottom half doesn't match up with the
That's
top
right.
half.
It's the symmetry thing. It's really important. So, you've got to bring that up so that it changes everything. Now, that's not a particularly good C because I didn't hit the side here. These are a little bit too big, but that's okay. And this one's really small. It's still a nice looking C, but it's not perfection. So I'm going to do it again. This time I'll stop talking. Stop and turn and back up. Now, if I go up a box and press hard and down and across here with the corner of the pen and a little bit in there, got quite a nice G. It's not perfect, but it's okay. And I've got a little closer at getting those corners balanced. It only comes with time. If I had written 2 pages of calligraphy this morning, they would be a whole lot better.
So Judy, I have a question. You're going right to the edge of the box with these corners? I thought we had to stay back a little bit on the right hand side.
Yes, but that was in the original, the pencil one. I'm changing the rules here
Okay,
because we're working in 4x4.
okay.
That was in the one for beginners, the
Great.
little baby boxes.
Yeah.
That was just to break the ice, but this one's a bit more precise, and I think you'll be happier with your end results if you use this format. Okay, now do another, in the box below, do another O, this time aiming for equal corners. I'm not going to talk. And now I'm going to just latch on. Which Q tail shall I use today? There's 3 or 4 that you can use. I'll use the classic Romans one just to begin. So diagonal stroke, down and back up to the line. That's not my favourite. This one's nice. This one's nicer. And lastly, oh, there's 2. I need another box here. Just remembered. Okay, the next one is the letter D. And this one, Chris, there is a dotted line here. So we'll just put that in to stop us from going too far. So just look up for a second. I'm going to skate in here and down with a nice spinal stroke. Then here's our rectangle, so those sides have to be straight. Now we're aiming for the middle. And I've cut it too short. And we keep on going, but that belly is a bit too small. So we've got our rectangle, but that should have gone out to there. So let's do another one. You try now. Spinal stroke, out and halfway. And look how much nicer it looks when you get the belly fat enough. And then with the corner of the pen, we're just sketching in the serif. You see the difference is like night and day because the proportion in the first one was wrong. Okay, one last in the 4x4 family is the W, which is dot, 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 dot. Okay, so you don't slide into this stroke. You just lay. You're back on your pen chart to get your pen angle correct. Now we come down heavy for the first stroke. Look where you're going, not where you're at. Then you go back up to the middle point and you come down softly. Then picking it up just below the point, up to it to get a nice sharp point at the top. And back down and
So
then.
the second and fourth stroke, are we changing the pen angle?
No.
No.
You're just being very light. And let me just let me check that I'm telling the truth. Yeah, I'm rocking. I'm rocking onto the right corner a bit. You're right. Sorry, I didn't even realize. If I did it, let's just see what happens. No, it's pressure. It's all about pressure. It will be right if you don't adjust the pen angle and don't rock. Right. Just try and do it. Dot, 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 dot. Pressure. Pressure. no pressure, pressure, no pressure. It's hard. I think M and W are the ugliest letters of all when you're learning. Very. And then on the top, we're going to turn the pen so we've got. We're going to turn the pen so that we've got the nib pointing upwards to do the serifs, just with the corner, very lightly. Here, this is the one. Skate along the line and just put that little serif curve in. What a difference it makes to the letter form. But see, this one down here, this is a hell of a mess, right? Because they're not even. These are balanced, which these should all be very even. But W is one you might want to practice, and M. But okay, back up to the top, to the columns of 3. We do a dot in the middle. We check our pen angle again to the 30. And coming with the pen at that angle from the dot, we're aiming for that corner, and look where you're going. And it'll always be straight. I promise that works. Now, this is really important on A. We want a sharp point at the top, which we achieve by coming down here, up and back. And turn as you arrive. This one, you have to add the serif by hand, which is very nice. And then using that line that's across the A there, you go below that and do a pressured stroke across. Not easy. Now, I've drawn a terrible box here with very shaky hands, but we want to do the letter H now. So this requires a bit more of you, because first of all they've got to be straight, but they've also got to be matched, which is, I think, why they called it the parallel pen, because parallel is a big thing in architecture, and the Romans loved parallelism. So slide in, pressure, 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 no pressure, and slide out. Same thing over here, slide in, pressure, 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 and rock and slide out. So you're trying to rock onto the point, the right-hand point of the nib. It's a pen manipulation, there's no question. And we're just faking in these serifs with the corner of the nib. And a pressured stroke. Got a bump in the cloth underneath here. I'm going to do that again because that was a horrible one. Better. Now, when you progress to doing Romans freehand later on, and you're doing something, you can move that crossbar up here, and it looks very Art Nouveau-ish. Or you can move it down here, or you can do this. You know, once you've got free of all this formality that we're learning. But if you want it to be Romans, it has to be, and mine is not a good example here, but this has to be, you know, it has to be symmetrical. There's one guy that does Romans, and he decorates everything he does. So he does his H. Can you see what I'm doing? And he always does this in the corners. And it's not much, but wow, does it look great when he has a line of stuff with just a little doodly in there. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here. Concentrate. H-I-J-K-L-M. This is your hardest challenge. Dot inside the box, dot outside the box, dot in the middle bottom, dot inside, dot outside. Again, this is to stop you splaying the legs of the M as wide as the W. So starting on that dot, which mucks up a nice clean point, but never mind, coming down soft, and if you feel like turning the pen and sliding along, you can, or you can fake it later. And then here, up to the dot, pressure, 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 stop, and you're looking where you're going so it's straight. And now we right on the dot all the way down, then back here up to the top to get a point. I'm doing terribly today. And just add the serifs. It's worth doing that a couple of times, I think, the M. As you're coming down the last stroke, you're looking to your left to see just how wide that was, so that when I do this, it's going to be the same. And then you add your serifs at the end. But this is a challenging letter to get it right. And so if you can do it without the dots, which I'll do now, you'll just get a neater finish on your point at the top. I get a much better finish with a pen, a dip pen rather than this pen, but we're just learning with this. N, this is slide in, Now we want to slightly adjust the pen angle to a slightly steeper angle. So we're up to about here for this. We're up to about here. Here's your angle. We were working here. Now we're working here for these side strokes on the N. Why we want to do this is we want to get the side strokes thin so that the broad stroke in the middle is thicker. So we're going to slide in. We're going to slide in, pressure, and slide out twice. We can draw in the serif, the half serif, and the whole serif. Now we're ready for this stroke, which goes 1/6 straight, 1/6. That's the stroke. It's not curved and it's not continuous. So we come down a smidge. We're aiming for here. So we're looking where we're going. And then we come down. That's not a wonderful N either. Do another one. You can leave the serifs off like this. And that wasn't good either. That was too low. That was too low. I just want you to see what happens when you don't get it right. That one's correct. That one's a bit low. Okay, crossbar.
yourself each time on the
Okay.
screen, that way you'll know where you are.
So in a 3x4 box, I'm just going to go over to this page over here. These caps that we were doing earlier, if we do one that's 3 wide now, we're back to our regular pen angle now. 3 wide and stop and turn and back up, and then go back to the beginning and turn up. You can, if that's eluding you, you can do this as a cheater, which is slide in and slide out. Not technically Romans, but you could get away with it. But try to get the pen, try to get this pen manipulation thing, because it's something worth learning. 1, 2, 3, back up, and then cap it, and then down. Okay, so let's go back to our boxes. So 3 across, right at the corner, 1, 2, 3, stop, turn, and back up. Don't make these tails too long, but you want to get that curve in there if you can. Then down the center, stop, turn, and serif. Now, you may remember from last week, we do a J, 3 boxes down and then turn, and we do a U with 3 boxes down and turn and join the 2 together. You may see in some handbooks that Romans teach this tail here, but it's not Romans. They didn't do it. They actually didn't do it at all, because their U was actually V. There was no J and there was no V in the Roman alphabet. So I never teach that tail there. And then go back and just decorate your serif a little bit. Next box is a dot in the middle. And just with the corner of your pen, draw your serif in. So, X. I always do the second stroke first because it's a light stroke from corner to corner. Because if you do 3 by 3, it looks like this. And it doesn't always intersect there. If you have trouble with the intersection, try doing it 2.5. So I start at 2.5. And then I come down, and for some reason, it always works at 2.5. So, but again, it's thinking straight. This X stroke is not like the crossbar stroke of N. It is definitely straight all the way in both directions. Now, if you're ready for a martini, pressure, 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 just below the line, no pressure, and push it into the serif. Draw the serifs in. No, it's just I can't get to the bottom of the book without hitting that, so that's why they're having trouble seeing it. And the last one, don't worry.
Move the camera if it's easier for you. Put your paper where you want to draw,
I want to be here.
and then I will move the camera
Okay.
so that we can see it.
All right,
Like,
okay.
everything's manipulable. You can just
All
you
right.
can lift this up and down and move it closer or further
Okay.
away.
So the last triple wide one, at the 2.5 mark, just there, I'm going to slide up to it, pressure and slide out, then a nice pressured stroke down to the corner, and I'm going to slide in, and this is like the bottom of the L up to there and back. And you, if you want to, you can fill this one in. I'm not giving you much time to practice these, but you'd love to have time to do them over and over and over, I know, but... So, I don't know why I've got the shakes today. I'm not doing very good calligraphy today, and that's how it is sometimes. So these aren't the best, but anyway. We'll go to the 2 boxes now, up at the top. This is very awkward. I can't get it close enough to me to get it on the camera. Okay, slide into the spinal stroke and down. So this is the center. So this is a small d on top of a bigger D. So we do down to the line and stop. Then across here, right out to that line and back and up and in. And fill out the in. So we definitely want one bigger than the other. I made a bloppy mess there. The next one is, let's just review these strokes over here on the strokes page. Sliding across 2, turn and put the thorn on. Alright, yeah. Sliding across and put the thorn on. Sliding across and turn and back up and back in. Or you can try this one, which I'm not sure we did last week. Go to the end, turn a bit, press harder and lift off, and you get a little barb on the end, which is also quite nice. And then the base of L and E is this, all the way out, up and back. So that when you do the letter, 2 wide. Sorry. When you do the letter, with all those components, then you go back and you serif the corner. So let's go back to your frame and do your E inside your box. So slide in, down, pressure across, stop, turn, back up, pressure across, stop, and not lifting off, and back up, and slide up, across, and slide out, and back down, and fill in. That makes a really nice E if you get it right. I'll do one beside it with the barb on it because I think it's quite nice and useful. Stop, turn, press and lift off. Same for F.
I need to keep checking the screen. And if this is awkward, like move the camera, if you're finding it like...
If I could
awkward
just
for you.
have it here and they could see the whole page.
Well, then
I
we'll
think
have
it's
to-
because it's on Zoom.
We'll have to zoom out to see the
That's
whole page.
that's what the problem is.
But
If they
put it-
can't see, I'll
yeah,
do
put
something
it where
different.
it's comfortable, and then we can adjust the camera
Okay.
to that. And just check the screen so that you're...
So the F is just the same as the E, except that we've got this nice serif at the bottom. But this time we'll try it with the barb. These are little nuances you can fiddle with later, but what we're really working on are the forms. So the next one is K. So again, a very straight spine. But this stroke I got wrong for years and years till, what's his face, John, whatever his name is, said, you'll mess this up if you make it heavy. It's not. This is a very soft stroke with a very soft serif. But the sister stroke down here is a heavy stroke. And that's what makes it pretty, is the contrast. And then you draw your serifs in. So now next, we'll slide into the L, just below the line, up to it, along to the end, up, and slightly coming out and back to give that little L hook. And if I've curved too much here, which I have, I can't put a serif in there, so let's do that again. And just pick it up here to do the L. And then I can draw the serif in. Look how much better it looks, because I can get the little curve stroke in here. So sliding up there is not the way to start the L as you do with the E. In fact, we could probably not do that there either, because I'm faking the corner serif. So let's do that again. L. 1, 2, 3, and back. And then fake. Then you get a prettier L. So I didn't do that correctly. Now for the fat-bellied letters. I've run out of 3, so I'm going to go over here. Oh, 2s. So another straight spine. And all the way to the line, and keep going through the line and off, and the P goes below the line here, as opposed to the B and the R which sit on it. Just let the pen take you there, it will sort of automatically take you there.
Is the P a 2 box?
So here's the, yes, it's a 2, we're in the 2 wide
2,
column.
okay.
Yeah.
I ran out of 2 boxes and I was...
Yeah, we'll have to make more 2 boxes, sorry.
Sure.
Because I made you repeat some things, so I messed up my own.
I repeated them more as well, so I'm way behind with the
I know,
boxes.
that's fine. So it's very easy to do another P. Oops. Gosh. But this time stop at the line. Then I go back to the spine, slide out, and a nice diagonal which only curves at the end. It's rougher Romans. But look how wonky my letter is. I thought I was going down straight, but I wasn't, because I wasn't using the box. I'm completely off, and that's important to see. The spine must be upright, or it's going to be a leaning Tower of Pisa. And you realize how dainty you have to touch when you're doing the serif touch-ups. You have to have such a light touch. Oh, here's everybody's favourite dread. So 2x4 box, but this time I'm going to get you to draw the grid in even more so, just to remind yourself where we're going with this letter. So just like the I'm going to zoom in for this. Just like the beginning of the O, we'd take the corner off. Then we're going to curve down to right across at the axis. We get to this wall here and we turn the corner. And then we just drop in the S, and it should be a nice balanced S. And so this...
Have you done there?
Huh?
How many strokes have you done there? Is it 6 or 4 or 5?
It should be 3.
3, okay.
Here, let's do it again, Liz. Yeah, you're right. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and 7. But what the important thing that you're mentally, this is muscle memory, it's not important that these letters are perfect. It's learning what's it supposed to look like and how do I get there. And what we're looking for here is this and this, that they touch the edges and they all line up. Otherwise it will look horrid. RS, what comes after S, 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 S? Oh, while we're in the twoies, we'll do a beautiful, even though it's not technically Romans, we'll do a nice J. So skate in, down 3 boxes, and turn left. And the same again, but down straight, and I. Phew. Is it starting to make sense, even though you're not happy with maybe the outcome? Starting to come a bit?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me is remembering how many boxes each one. Last night when I was
Well,
practicing-
that's why I've given you this today,
Yeah. I can
because
remember
it tells you very clearly what in the first 2 columns are 4x4s, in the second 2 columns are 3x4s, and in the third one it's the 2 wides, and I and J are really technically only 1 wide. How are you doing with the corner of your pen to fill in the serif? Are you getting that?
That's the worst part.
That's the worst part.
I found it easier. I switched to a bigger pen last night, and I found it easier with the slightly bigger pen.
Okay.
I got a better.
Okay, well, whatever if you want to try it with a bigger pen, you can come and borrow one here. But what I'd like you to do is one by one, I'd like to give you a bit of a break now because it's pretty intensive when we're pushing this hard. Let's take a few minutes for a little break, and then one by one I want to sit with you and just guide your hand because I think you need that. And I mean, I need it too, because I've got the shakes today.
Pause the video.
So for those at home, we're going to pause the video for a minute. There's a circle here, there's a circle here, and there's a circle here. And that's how I, you know, if you're mentally imagining filling that in, that's how you're going to get there. And that's what they'll show you. And they'll show you on those diagrams that I gave you that it comes around and that, you know, everything is based on circle, straight. I'm not a mathematic type, so I'm imprecise, but you do need to be precise. So I find it really hard working that big, but some people much prefer it. It's totally up to you.
Having said that, seeing you do it in the bigger pen, the serifs, is easier to follow you when you use
Yes, okay. Or maybe I should be doing it bigger. So I'm sliding in, I'm coming down, I get to the point where I need to stop, wherever that is, and I'm rocking. Now, if I was doing this with a brush, I'd go back to here, and I'd come down to, oh, are we recording again?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought you had started.
But I'm trying to get a tidy top there, so I have to go back a bit to come down and say, do the P. So, but the serif is really, if I was really good penman, I should be able to do all of that without lifting off, but I'm teaching you to cheat a bit, because this is so much easier if I do that and then you draw it in. But as you get more proficient, you'll be able to write it in. And that's why I want you to change next week to the to this nib. This nib, because this is a split nib. It has two eyes in it, and it flows beautifully, and it just dances across the paper. So I had hoped to do that this week, but somehow my box of nibs did not get here, and I'm not quite sure why. Anyway, I just want to show you this. If you have one, please bring it. If you don't, I'll have them here for you next week. But the second handout that I gave you, which is this one, is just so much easier to do these strokes. Oops. It's so much easier to do the Roman strokes using this format, but I think it just looks, look at that J, it looks just so nice with that split nib. This is Liz's nib, but so now, is anybody brave enough to bring me a sheet of work that you might have done?
For homework or this morning?
Yeah, the prep work that I sent you. Oh, I just want to show you this very quickly. Where is it? I'll do it later. So, if you could come and sit with me one at a time. Doesn't matter if you did the homework or not. I just want to sit with you and just see where you're at, because
So this is where I started, and then the second sheet.
have a seat.
And the third sheet last night.
So I'm not doing this to put people on the spot, but this is what I wanted you to now take out your red crayon that I asked you to bring, or something to mark with, which of course I've got my box here. Oh, there it is. So this is a very nice sheet of work with us together. So this is a really nice sheet of work that she's done. What did you use?
I used the red pilot.
The red parallel pen.
Yeah, and I had the square boxes underneath.
Yes. So it's very nice. So what I want you to do with your sheet of work is to turn it now upside down, and immediately you're going to see what's up with it and what's good and what's not. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to write on your work.
I do not worry about that.
Okay, so if I draw a line from the point down the middle of the A, I get a view of that was how wide that is. So a more perfect A would be this wide, right? Mm-hmm. So then that tells me that that was just a shade wide. It's amazing how this works because you can see what's wrong.
And it's a bit too curvy too, it kind of curves out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And, you know, looking at it up this way, I thought that was a really nice looking A. It didn't quite achieve the serif at the bottom, but that's fine. But we're talking about the symmetry of it now. And this is all about brain training, and it's not me about being picky and mean, but this half of the B, to my eyes, here's our 2. So if that was our box, then this should have been here, and this should have been here.
And I think that's what I mean about I forgot where I was supposed to
Yeah.
be in the boxes
Yeah.
last night. I wasn't quite
So
sure.
the top D is a little smaller, and the bottom B is a little bigger, but this one's pregnant.
Yeah, it's way too fat, isn't it? Yeah. Make a good cartoon out of that.
So this C here gets to Chris's point that she was making earlier. Here's your square, which you completed, and I may have confused you here, but this would be a nicer C if it stopped there, because then that would be the O.
Yeah, that's exactly what I struggle with. I can't
Yeah.
remember where they all stop
Yeah.
and start and where they fit.
And so with your O boxes, when you're training your mind, if you do this dot here, and then you just stop as you come up, I'm working upside down here, so if you stop here and do your serif here, then this one's got to match. Wherever you end up, even if you got it wrong and you went right to the end, you'd have to do that just to make it stand up straight. It's not a bad C, but it didn't get a serif. But we weren't doing serifs last week. Not really. So what's wrong with this one? I'll get you to analyse now, because what we're doing is not me criticising your work, but you spotting what's wrong.
Well, I think I've gone too wide again.
I want you to look here. That's a bit distorted there.
Yeah, with this
Yeah,
one,
but
the
let's
D?
start with the first stroke.
The D,
Is there anything wrong with the first stroke?
is it not very straight, maybe?
It's not quite straight. I mean, it depends where you could have had your graph underneath off or something. But it just shows up when it's upside down. Now, the belly is not symmetrical. So this should be straight to the rectangle, remember? Mm-hmm. So that was good. But then this has got a small one here and a bigger one here.
I really struggle with that, getting those two.
Well, it's
together.
hard. It takes a while. But I just want everyone to see that you're all struggling with the same stuff.
Yeah.
Now, this is a tactical mistake that it's easy to make. With an E, the top stops here and the bottom sticks out. So these two are the same length, so that was a bit long. So this stroke here, why am I working upside down? Oh,
Because you told me to.
because I'm wanting them to see it upside down. So this is a circle, this is a circle inside a square. So you've got very nice, and you did a nice little dainty serif there. It was just over too far. And this one didn't come out and back. And this is very nice F.
I took the F too far as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks good, but it's not technically Romans. That's like, it's just, that's why it's just to start we need to use the framework. Gee, it's pretty good. I mean, you got the wobbles on the downstroke, and then you went back and fixed it, which is okay. But what if we did the circle here? I think that would have been just in there just a little bit. Just that. This is right to the edge. But I'm really being picky. What happened here is, it's the pickup. You've got to get back into the ink to pick it up again. But you're fine. This one's pretty nice, isn't it?
We're still a little bit
This could be heavier. The crossbar is quite a heavy stroke. But look, the nice serifs that are coming really nicely. It might be a tad wide. I'm not sure. It depends what.
I forgot all the widths of everything by the time I was doing it.
Well, that's why I say it's better to do one or two good letters and not get overwhelmed with it. But these are straights are getting really nice. Your J is nice. I'm going to put it back up the other way. So, with the K, again, it's only 2 boxes wide. So now the thing I've given you this week, you will have no doubts about how wide things are. So that's why this didn't work, is because it's a 2 wide one. And the L is nice, I would say. Missing a serif there. Everybody crosses out at least one M. So look what a good job you've done here of balancing this and this.
Which I didn't do on the other one, and then the pen got way too...
But this got a bit wide on you. But, that's a pretty balanced letter. And this one didn't work, and this one did.
wide.
Why?
This one's too wide, yeah.
Yeah.
I should have made it more
Yeah.
narrow, yeah.
So it's not about me correcting you, it's about you correcting yourself, right? So if I draw a circle here, this is a pretty nice circle. And the P is practically, as Mary Poppins says, perfect.
In every way. You have to get one
It's
in there.
practically perfect in every way. Now your Q-tail, you started to get a bit sexy with your tail. And if you'd come here to the very thinnest part, it would be more purely Roman.
Okay.
But there's nothing really wrong with it. So because you got P so well, you got the R well. Now you could do a little more serifing in there. And this is nice and equal.
It's a bit tippy over though.
But I'm not quite sure what to do with your serif yet, so we could work on that.
I don't know what to do with the serifs on the end.
No, okay.
They're all tipping over.
Okay, it's the stopping and turning while you're still on the stroke to get that turn.
And that's where I found it much easier with the slightly bigger pen.
Okay.
I just found that,
So do what works for you.
I had more control.
That's
with the
good,
bigger
thank
pen.
you. I'll come and see you shortly.
Come and give me my detention.
Oh, look at this. Whoa, that's good practice.
I just liked the slightly
Yeah,
bigger pen
this-
better.
Yeah, what size pen was this, a green?
This was the orange.
Orange.
That's the orange pen,
Yeah.
2 point.
So this is
2.4.
really nice work. So faking the serif doesn't mean making one up. It has to come, because that was curved down a bit too much. If you stop short and then bring the serif and square it after. So if you wanted to, you could tidy that up. But
They need work.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it is hard. You know what's hard? It's hard to teach this as well, because it's. So anybody else got the guts to come up?
I liked the bigger pen better, but,
Yes.
but then I'd already
But
practiced.
this is a very nice page of Romans, isn't it?
Well, the G is definitely lacking in
you say it's lacking. I mean, it's lacking in penmanship,
Yeah.
but the actual scale of it is very good. So it's just learning to do the serifs that seems like what we need to work
I'm
on.
doing better today, I have
Okay.
to say.
Thank you for letting me share your work
you're welcome.
across the... Next, as they say at the doctors. It's like being at a galleria, is that you learn from seeing other people's work.
Much better this morning on those ones.
Thank you,
Okay, so I
ma'am.
started with these.
Oh my word.
What?
Talk about,
No, they're awful.
look how wonderful she... It's so wonderful to have a student like this that does this amount of work and so straight.
This
You found
font,
easy.
No, I find this font horrible because it's so precise. Like you can see everything every little wobble.
Well, but let me tell you that seeing things and seeing the flaws, it makes you a good calligrapher, so that you're actually looking at... I don't see much wrong with any of that. And so
Did help I had graph
if you
paper.
do the upside down thing, immediately what pops out, you know, the ones that are off straight, they just pop out.
Yeah.
I know, I was looking at it this way and it looked like a great page of work. But
Upside
this
down.
is what catches us all out. So, you know, you've done great work. You've achieved some pretty nice balance. By the time you get down to, where am I on the screen here? By the time you get down to here, you've really got a nice, you know, contrast when you weren't doing serif, so that's good.
No, these are all the training wheels, these paper.
Yeah.
When I got the new paper, I
The
started.
training wheels approach works, and that's a really nice work. And you were using the red,
No, I was using my dip pen.
so you have C4 or something?
Yeah, I think it was C4.
Yeah. And it does a nicer job for you, and that's why you work with the tools that you work with.
Well, here's where I did the parallel pen. I got my new pad of paper in the mail.
Oh,
Struggling still.
this is a nice book. What is this book?
This is a rodeo.
Oh, this is a rodeo book. I haven't
That's
seen
the
this
only
one
one.
before. I find spiral a bit difficult sometimes, but if you leave a space, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Now, so that people can see what we're looking at here. This is what I was experiencing this morning too. If your hand is not perfectly calm, you get the shakes,
Yeah.
and then you don't get that perfect arc that we're wanting to do. Do you mind if I write on
No,
your
right
book?
on it.
So that, you know, when you get the thick and thin of this stroke, if you go slow enough,
Yes.
you get the nice join ups. And it's when you're trying so hard, but getting away
It's got
from...
a death grip on the pen. Like honestly,
I know,
but-
and the death grip is fatal. You're far better to hold it like you're about
I
to
know.
drop it. But taking all of those aside, which looks like an exercise in bubble making, the letters down here are gorgeous. For just straight Romans,
Okay.
really nice. And then you started to adventure into a bit of a
Yes, so
serif.
as you go through the pages,
Yeah, and so
I struggle.
this is really very nice work, but you're still struggling with the O, and you're ending up with an oval rather than a circle. So Betty's advice when teaching this is, when you're in your 4x4 square, don't worry about going slightly outside the box on the last stroke.
Okay.
If you make it a little fatter, it'll suddenly make sense.
Okay.
So that's what to work on. Now,
So I'm doodling at this point.
well, doodling is good, but it just shows you that italic does tip over,
Yeah.
and Romans does not. So this, you're almost reversing the O form for italic, which is sort of about there. But And then you got back into it, and you were, dying to ornament it. But this is starting to be good, but that's a little too curvy.
Yeah.
This is a little too fat. It's a 2 box wide, right? So it comes to then stops, cross, and out. So this is off, that this is taller than this and blah, 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 but this isn't. This was a bit more on it.
Okay, that's me finding a
And then
page
you
on
slipped in
Pinterest.
a beautiful Celtic G because your mind was wandering.
I was talking to people.
But doodling is great for pen control.
Okay.
So,
See here, I finally trying to
yes.
get those serifs. Like,
So
I just,
here is a very respectable R that you're doing for pretty much the first time. And look at this. This one's perfect. This one's nice. But you can see a slight sway
it's a
developing.
bit too fat.
And
too.
you just go too far with your belly.
Yeah.
And then down straight and then curve it. You're starting to want to go, "Meow." And we've just done unseal, and so those unseal forms, you can't help it. You're so schooled in unseal from 2 weeks ago that it starts to
And
creep
it's
in,
completely different.
which is why they
completely
call
different
some unseal, they call it Romans unseal, because they're so close together.
Oh, okay.
One was born from the other. But this is a very nice page. The BBC, I've heard that before. That's really good, but they're different.
I know.
But there's nothing wrong with either. It's just that they're different sizes. But this is what I would call more balanced.
Yeah, I felt that this one was too, the top and the bottom were not quite
Yeah.
right.
But again, working with a bigger pen, then you have to increase. What pen was this?
I think that's the orange pen.
Huh?
The orange one.
Orange. So with the orange then,
I have to make a bigger.
you have to make the boxes bigger. So then 10 of those. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, let's call it there. It's 4 boxes. That's weird.
I think you said before, I think I wrote it down, that
Oh,
the
yeah.
orange is
Yeah.
5 boxes.
Okay.
Yep.
So I see where you're going with that precise thing, but I think you need to go just to
A little
there.
bit further, okay.
I'm careless with that, I have to admit, because I don't mind it being full size either. But you are correct; it should really go to there.
Okay.
So then,
Because I was imagining if you had a C and an O side by side, they
Yeah.
have to be, one
Yeah.
just has to look like it's chopped off. of the
okay,
other.
I'm going to push on because I want to get to the others, and I want to do a
Yep.
few more things
Yep.
before we get. We've only got a few more minutes. Barbara. Oh, very nice. This is nice work. So this alphabet here is good, but what's wrong? And you think there's something wrong, but I can't quite
Yeah.
figure. Turn it upside down, and it will immediately tell you what's up.
Right.
So that is balanced, but in both cases, I think it's a little wide.
Okay.
It's a lovely looking letter, but not quite Romans. What's wrong with this one? Look at it here rather than there.
Okay.
Looking at it upside down, it immediately tells you
not straight,
you're
yeah.
not straight.
Yeah.
See how revealing that is? It's
Yeah.
so good. So this should have been short,
Right.
and this should have been to here. So this one's a bit too fat. This one, both of
Both
them.
too fat, yeah.
But this is nice. This is a good, nice balanced letter. A little bit off there. Now, if I do the bow window thing, you can see there was more here. We just needed to be a little bit fatter here, and that's got to be, it's got to be that.
Right.
It's hard to do. And so that's just a bit off straight. That's just a bit off straight. That's perfect. This is
Yeah,
this
that leg
is.
went.
It didn't look bad up the
Yeah.
right way,
Yeah.
but when you get it upside down, suddenly you can see that that's not straight. That's not, and it depends how. You know, I'm an italic person, so I've always got the pad like this.
Yeah, exactly.
And Romans, you've got to be.
It's hard to work square on.
I don't.
when you're
I
used
never
to-
do. But
when you're used to
if
the
you've got the
slant.
grid, you've got no excuse. Now you're
Right.
working on a small grid, which makes it hard. If I could give you a few pages of that to practice on, you might find it easier.
Okay.
But you've got the line there. It's still there, the straight.
Yeah.
But once you're concentrating on your pen strokes, you lose sight of the lines
The
behind.
line, yeah.
This is good and good and good. Now this was perfect, and this one went a bit.
Yeah.
Now why that was is that that's longer than that. It's not a V.
Okay.
Like it's not symmetrical.
Right.
Symmetry means that both sides are the same. That's all that's wrong with that. It's just that you shot a bit wide there, so then it threw it off.
Right.
So this was perfect. This half was perfect. And this, like, sometimes we just do it quickly and just throw it away and we just make a mistake. But these are all good, really good. This one, we've got to have the pickup stroke and then down. So that you just missed that. But this is good, but this is small and this
Okay,
is
so
big.
with the R, I was having issues there. So you do the stroke, you do half the curve, and
no,
then you come out.
No, not quite. Here's your box. I'm working upside down here, but here's your box. And you come down and stop. Then you pick up.
there, and then-
So
yeah.
if I was doing a P, it would keep going down below the line.
Right,
But I stop here
right.
with the P and the B and the P, and then I pick it up and go wide out, just outside the box. So this
Okay.
one's smaller than this one.
Right.
TUV, So, if you're going to do a word, then you've got to know about spaces, which we must talk about next week. So this is coming. So if what we've learnt today about sliding into the serifs, if you do the same homework again, just a page of something, and give yourself some more white space in between the lines, I think it will help you basically work on this. Do you like me to give you some of this?
Sure. Try that.
Because I think you'll find it's just so much nicer to work on. And it's just that it sets you up for success because it
All right,
glides
yeah.
so nicely.
Lovely. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for doing the homework.
you.
Miss Liz, can you bring up whatever you're working on?
I don't have anything from the homework part.
That's fine. Just bring up what you're working on. May I just mention with your parallel pen, this sandpaper, believe it or not, even a parallel pen gets blunt. What's this paper called? I can't remember. I should know. Anyway, it's a superfine SP5, but it feels almost like velvet.
Oh, whoa.
But with your parallel pen, if you just go scrape, scrape, corner, corner, it'll just sharpen it up and you'll be like you have a new pen. They do They do blunt.
Where do you find it?
I think I got it at one of the calligraphy shops. I can't
It's sort
remember.
of like a plastic.
Somebody
velveteen or
clever would know exactly what this is.
Mm-hmm.
It's made by 3M, and then the next one, this is called crocus cloth, which is also good for fine-tuning your split pen nib that we're going to be using. Okay, let's have a look here.
I don't really have
So it's
anything.
nice work, turning it upside down. This is for you to analyse your own work.
Okay, so I should be looking here?
No, you should be looking here
Oh,
at your
okay.
work.
Okay.
So the only thing that's wrong with that is that you're a little bit afraid and your hand's going a little bit shaky. So you sort of want to learn to lean into it. The parallel pen can take an enormous amount of punishment in terms of pressure. So I'm really pressing hard. I can't do any harm to it.
Yeah, I was finding for a good release of the ink, I had to have it almost vertical, which seemed
No,
crazy.
there's something wrong there.
Yeah.
Probably you might be pressing too hard or too soft. I'm not sure which.
I do press
So-
hard.
But you cannot press too hard on a parallel pen. It can
Okay.
take an enormous amount of punishment. But see what I'm doing when I'm coming around the corner, rocking onto the corner there. Sorry, people at home, I'm not doing a very good job of being in front of the camera. So with the circle, the 4x4 circle, pressure, no pressure, lifting off. And so you get that nice taper, then I'm coming back to here, pressure, and slowing right down.
Nice.
So, but you know, you've got, what you have got on your work is symmetry. Never mind about the shakes at all, but what you've got are very precise letters. They're good. So if I do my lines through your work, this is balanced. If I do my lines through your work here, you're inside the two squares. If I do my lines through here, you actually do have equally matched corners, almost. Mm-hmm. And, you know, even though we've got like the odd fumble here and there on the end, you've still got the symmetry there, which I really like. The B, we could have shortchanged the upper belly a bit, so that this one's small and this one's bigger. But you're all getting there nicely. The circle thing doesn't quite work inside an H. No, so it's not how to measure it. I can see what you were doing there, but this is what I was trying to teach last week with the H. If I do, I'm going to do it bigger because I'm using a bigger pen. Where do I put the second stroke? I divide this into thirds mentally, and that's where I put the second stroke.
So slightly top heavy.
So no, that's just me trying to do that. But I'm talking about this width.
Oh, okay.
Your H was over here,
Right.
and so here is our rectangle that we were doing the D with. Remember when we had a box like this and we had a dotted line there?
Yep.
Well, that's what it was for. Coming inside that for the H.
H is the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, you're on the right track, and you're doing quite well with serifs, which is really, really advanced calligraphy, and we don't do that. We just do backwards J and a forwards J, just to be pure. And every girl wants to be pure. Come on, Liz with a mask.
Once you find
I
out
mean-
what it's about, you sure do.
Chris with a mask.
I don't want to show anybody mine.
Okay, I won't show it, but I still want you to come up.
You can do it, I did.
I misread the homework,
Listen,
but I misread
you're fairly new to calligraphy in a way, and you're jumping into Romans, which is
That's a whole new world.
it's Romans is not for sissies. So I think you're very brave doing this.
Did you want me to pause the video so it's not on the video? Hang on, I'll come and do that.
Okay, I'll just turn this off.
No, because it messes everything up. I can pause the video and I
We've
can...
got a shy one, people at home, so just stand by.
It's all right,
We'll be right back.
I'll fix it all.
Like a smallish one. What did you bring to? You've got everything. She's the woman with
I've got
everything.
everything too.
Okay, take out. Do you have nibs? Okay, take out a straight edge nib of some dimension, and a bottle of ink.
I made a mess with the camera.
And do not wear good clothes to calligraphy classes, because somebody will knock something flying, as long as it's not me. So understanding that if you want to work with a bigger nib, it's 10 pen widths high. So if you go to the big fat blue one, you've got to work that big. You might find it easier. But 10 pen widths is the key thing. And by the way, that works in both directions. So already I know the size of my square because it's 10 pen widths high and 10 pen widths across as well. This is a good way of doodling on this page here. It's just doing them either in pencil or whatever, but just over the top of each other. You know, a word tower, a letter tower, whatever you like. Okay.
So not the parallel pen right now.
If you want to work with a parallel pen, it's fine. But I'm trying to teach pen manipulation, so I need a bottle of ink. I just want you to see how easy this nib that we're going to work with next week. So if you could just look for a second, how you've been struggling thus far with the surfaces, but trying to get here. This just working with this pen is so easy for the serifs. Slide down, slide out, add it in. It's just so easy.
What number are you using?
This is a 3. And what denotes the numbers on, I'm just going to zoom in here a minute. What denotes the numbers, here it is. What denotes the numbers on this is the width of the tines. So this one has got equally weighted tines, and it's quite sharp. Some of them will have a thick side and a thin side, and you don't really want that for this purpose. So I choose this number, which I believe is a 3, because it's so dainty, and most things we're working on a sheet of paper, so to go much bigger than this, but you see you can see why I like it, can't you? Or can you? I think it does a nice job. So that's that pen. I'm just going to work through different ones. So everybody knows this nib. This is a browser. No, this is a smallish C-nib. So again, slide in, come down.
We can't see anything.
Oh, I've zoomed out now. Sorry. I'm not doing well today. Slide in, come down, slide out, off straight. Must be straight. So you can still do those serifs with this pen, I think. So whatever tool you have, give it a try. Here's a tiny browser, one of my favorites for just about everything. So that is this kind of a size. And it does a good job on the serifs. Here's a fatter browser, which if you like working bigger, you might like this. I'm just going to keep doing the same letter just so you can see the contrast.
You still can't see. Maybe you need to zoom out a little bit or move the camera.
I stopped a bit shy there. So it depends on your pen skills, and don't be too hard on yourself, but I wanted to show you just where's my, this is my favorite pointed pen nib. This is called a Veleda. It is got this strange profile, but I like it. I like it in the offset thing as well. But for this purpose, let's try and do Romans with. Now we've still got to try and get thick and thin with a pointed pen. Will it work or won't it work?
You're right out of view right now.
I have to book off the table to get it into the camera.
Move the camera. Like, adjust everything so that it works for you.
So if I can move the camera back.
Yeah, you can move it wherever works for you with your paper and everything. And this comes up and down too, like.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So I'm skating into my serif. This is a pointed pen now. Still getting the thick and thin though. Oops. So I don't mind that. I quite like it. Here is Linda's husband's, the Peter Lax nib, which is a folded pen. That's possibly you think is not going to work. However, if you do it big enough, you can see here's the box, and O goes, in their estimation, outside the box. What hits the box is the inside of the O stroke.
Right.
So the C almost goes to the edge, but not quite, right?
Okay.
So whatever you're looking at, I think it's better to have something like this.
Okay.
So it's just there.
To
I'm just
remind
like,
me
wow, where am I going? And you can just look up, and this one here that I gave you, this is perfection, as far as I'm concerned. For just a quick, having it in front of you while you're working so you don't drift off into your own version of what you think it should be like.
Okay.
And you can see how balanced they are, and you can see how it does stop short.
He does use a compass.
Well, I ain't getting a compass out to use flipping pens. Oh, you're coming along nicely, aren't you? Look at this.
Well, I like the bigger pens.
Very
I
good.
don't know why.
Yeah.
It just works better. for
And
me.
everybody's going to find a pen that they like. How are you getting on with the split?
I like this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just practicing
I
my...
see you've got calligrapher's fingers.
Well, this pen decided to leak all
I
over
know.
the place, and I had to replace the cartridge and clean it all out. Yeah, I'm in a bit of a mess, I'm afraid.
So this A is perfect.
Yeah,
And doesn't it do a nice job at the turn?
It
I just
does,
want
yeah.
to show you a turn, if I
Yeah,
may.
okay.
When you slide in, oh, I'm standing up so it's not straight.
Yeah.
But then you can get such a nice tail there, so dainty.
It's easier than the parallel pen for sure.
Yes,
yeah.
much easier.
Yeah.
You'll find working with the split nib next week. Oh, did I give you a nib back? Not symmetrical. And that's definitely not Roman. So it doesn't matter which version of Romans I look at, they're never the same. And to me, if it's a form, they should always be uniform. And they aren't, so...
And this is what you think is a very good hand.
I just think it looks...
It's good looking.
And if you really want to be a compass person, it shows all the compass points and all of that. But, so
Don't worry.
I feel that this is the most exciting nib I've ever worked with, because it gives me results that makes me look terrific, and I'm not. Oh, I have another one here. I have two. Chris, come and get one of them, hon, because this one's slightly thicker. That one's pretty dainty.
Oh, but my letters look so lovely already.
Yeah, it is lovely, but just try that so that we're all using the same tool. So, for the people at home, this is a scroll nib. I'll just zoom in so that you can see it with the two holes and the equal sized tines. And why I like it so much is that it does a wonderful job on the serifs. So do not press hard on these nibs. These are dainty nibs. This is no parallel pen. This is something that you have to treat with respect, but it does a very nice job. So a light touch in. Oh, wake up, nib. So slide in, down 4 squares, and out, and draw in the serif at the end, and it just does a really nice job. Don't know if you can see that well enough at home. Again, slide in, pressing quite hard, but not too hard. And a J, down 3 squares, turn left, draw in the serif. How's it so far?
I'm liking this one.
It's very nice. So here's R, our friend the Romans R. 4 squares down, rock left, serif right, round to the mark, down to the line off, pick up at the spine, cross, down straight and curve at the end. Now let's go 3 across. 1, 2, 3, stop, turn. Go back to the beginning and serif there. And all the way to the bottom, quite a firm stroke down, and then ease up here and do a serif at the bottom. So I'm not very straight there because I'm working sideways on, but I think we're doing better with the camera this time. It's very good. Okay, so I still need some guidance with my boxes, but I'm just not going to draw them in. I'm going to try and swim without my water wings and just see if I can get an S in here. So here we are with our boxes marked up, but barely. Corner, through the middle, down to the bottom. Look at that stroke, isn't that look good? And look what a job it does on the serifs. It's just phenomenal, I think. I'll do it again without anything showing. I stop here, I turn, and then I pull down, and I come up to the box above here and just put one on the end of there. It makes you feel like you can do Romans when you use this nib. Okay, E, which is fairly straight and simple. Slide in, down straight, pick it up carefully there, 2 boxes wide, turn, serif, 2 boxes wide, turn, double serif, and then we put the tail on the bottom and we just tickle a bit in there. Now, our old enemy, 4 boxes wide and a dot, no, 3 boxes wide, sorry. 3 boxes wide and a dot in the middle. Let's see if we can do an M with flying without. Is it working for you? It makes you feel like all of that struggling that we were doing with other nibs was worth it, because then when you transfer to this, you can use the light touch. So all over the page, any way you like, then just do letters, but I want you to, from here on, start doing rows with this in between, just because we are learning spacing next week, which is very important.
So what do you want us to put? You're too low, so we can't see what you want us in between.
Sorry. So here's the letter E. How much space do I put between that and the next letter? The big, big question. And the only way I taught myself from watching good people is John Stevens does this with, even at his age and his extreme skill, he does a dot. And that gives you a measurement between there and there, so the edge of the next letter is going to be there. So it just helps me decide where to put the next one. So then I put a dot there. So now I know if I'm going to do G next, it has to stop here. So this is going to be my arc, and so on. So when you're practicing, do this little diamond, which is just that. It's just a square on the diagonal. And then just keep going. But executing that space like that is going to teach you something. Oops, messed that up. So if you could make time for yourself to do a bit of work at home, it would be doing any letters in any order with this dot in between, because you're sort of brainwashing yourself about spacing. Now, Carolyn Delaire, on most of her cards that she sends, she'll do something large and then something small under, and she does it very well, and she does this, which is so effective.
Push it up a little bit. Or down a little bit or somewhere.
Sorry. She does this. It's no serifs at all, so if you're struggling with the serifs, she just rattles it off underneath, and it sings because her forms are very good. So it wouldn't hurt you to practice with this pen, if you can, with sans serif. Sans serif is just really nice. It's kind of modern. You can make it big or small or tiny or whatever, especially with a nice little dainty pen like this. So if you could do the odd word, just maybe 3 little words, but using this pen, and I'll send those that don't have one home with one, because you can take mine. So just work for a while on familiarizing yourself with this tool. I really hope you like it. Crocus cloth, that's what it's called. I knew I'd remember it.
For polishing a nib, is it specific?
Yes, this paper is crocus cloth. That's what they are. Different thicknesses.
Crocus like in the flower?
Crocus as in the flower. But I also have with me this little baby. This is a whetstone, and you can see I use it a lot. It's covered with ink, but whatever pen I use, I can sharpen it on the fly, but don't do it too much. It's just 1, 2, 1, 2, and then one stroke with it absolutely upright. You can really damage a nib if you're trying to sharpen it by reefing on it. And especially good these are with the parallel pen, just to get the corners crisp again. Did I show you this last week?
No, I don't.
Did I show you this rasp last week?
No.
This is a very tiny file that is 3-sided, and it has a diamond grain to it. And if you go to John Neal and order these modified pens to get, a thick side and a thin side, to get the split pen in the parallel pen, they charge you something like $25 or something. So I buy the $8 pen, $8 US, and you just rest it on the straight edge, and it grates your teeth, but you just go backwards and forwards until you get equal space. I made this myself. Carol de Bosch taught me this. And so you can do it one side thick, one side thin. You can't do it on the smaller nibs, but you can certainly do it on the bigger ones. So for very big letters, it works. So my very dear friend made me this thing to keep my pens in, And I have all the profiles written on the elastic so I know which one's round. So then for the same thing, instead of putting the rasp in the middle, then you take this one and you rasp off the corner. Then you go to the crocus cloth to smooth it off at the end. But this is also very good for doing Romans. So this is a folded pen, parallel folded form. But that's the rounded one, and you can do it all yourself. This is a $3. You can get it on Amazon or Alibaba Express or whatever. How's Miss Liz doing? Oh, you're off to the races.
Off topic, yes, it's just
You're
such
an
a new
outside the
thing.
box person, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess.
So
You never accomplish anything though because you're too busy fiddling.
it doesn't matter. But I just want to just quickly show what Liz is doing here with this pen. What works really well with Romans is foundational hand, which is like lowercase Romans.
Yeah.
So you can do the capital. She's very arty, so she's sort of nuancing even that. When you're doing it, next week I'll give you a handout that you must not ever publish. But she's given me permission to give it to you. Lorraine Douglas does a foundational hand with very short ascenders, and it looks absolutely magnificent with Roman caps. So I'll give that to you as a handout. But you may not publish it because it's her intellectual property, right? Says, oh, your S's are magnificent. Isn't that box helpful for doing S's?
So helpful.
And you know it's going to improve your other work.
Two things,
Get
your
it.
box and Lorraine's snowman for S's has really helped me. Little things like that, I struggle with.
I just want to see you with your nib going into a serif.
Okay, let's try. I was going to do
Just do an F.
an F. Okay.
Skate in. Skate out. Oh, you're getting very proficient.
I don't know.
No,
Do I go
you
up?
went wrong there.
Did I? Okay.
I'll tell you what, and you do it on every time when you do
Okay.
an upper one.
Yeah, show me
There-
what I'm doing wrong.
It's coming across here, turning right, but down the line.
Down the line, okay.
So then I've created a curve, and what you want to do is that, and you did it a few times, and you do it every time. So obviously you've done it before in some other life.
And I
But watch this. Turn
and down the line.
and then
okay.
back up the line. So if I turned soon and went here and back up, I'd get more of a club serif, right? So it's just where you turn and how long you go. And then the same with that. I messed up your boxes, sorry.
No, it's a practice pad. It's not nothing special.
But so you've got to have a
On the
straight
line.
side.
Okay, see, now that's very helpful too, because I didn't know where I was going wrong with that.
Cure is magnificent. You got these off nicely. These are very, very nice. Sorry, people at home, we're hiccuping through this today. It's my fault because I'm going around a lot to work with people here. And so just for the last few minutes, I'm just going to demonstrate the beauty of this pen. I'm just going to work my way through things, and those people in the room are already doing that, but I'd like you to do it now. If you at home don't have one of these pens, I have a box of them. So if you get in touch with me, I can easily send you one in the mail if you want to buy one. They're $4, I think. And so $4.50 or something. Anyway, but all of the people in the classroom are reacting positively to how much easier it seems to make this serif business. So here we go. I won't talk too much. The serif must have a straight side. The outside edge is straight, the inside edge is curved. Now practice doing a dot because spacing is very important with Romans. Slide in, pressure, slide out. Here's the center. Pick it up back here. Stop at the line. Come across. Diagonal. Now, looking at that, I have to put the same.
I just want to see your tool intrigue my husband as well as myself.
So, we're just thinking about the spacing again here. Whoops, I got too much ink on the nib. See, if you get too much ink, you don't get the split tine thing. So that one went wrong. Keep going straight. So when you're doing this, you've now graduated past the boxes. We're using the lines, but because we're spacing, it throws off the box thing. So you're going to have to figure this out now. Down a sixth, diagonally across, down a sixth, dot. Two squares, down. Remember to keep the bottom of the D straight. It's very tempting to come across here. You've got to go far enough out so this and this matches.
I'm pretty sure they use them for sharpening chainsaws and things like that, and you can get them in any tool shop. I think they're
It just looks like it's got a lot of uses for
Yeah.
tiny little
I was
things.
just looking on Amazon, like they have whole sets of them. If you went to like Home Depot or somewhere, you're not going to pay $10.99 for such a price. They might be useless, they might be
Well, my husband would probably know, but I can just see it maybe used.
It's called a needle file, definitely. You want a small one to make
I just want to show the people in the classroom a big flourish just to end on. With this pen, you're thinking, if you do this in the air, an infinity sign, it just gets it into your head before you start. So you lean into the stroke, and then no pressure. Now you're making a decision about how close to make it, and you're creating a pattern, and so you're matching the distances. But I think this pen does a really nice job of all kinds of flourishes, and you don't need to be clever to do this. Whatever you do, if you do exactly the same in both directions, it's going to look good. So go home and play. One of the things that Gemma Black taught me is when you're working with a lot of pens and you keep laying it down, she just has about ½ an inch in the bottom of water, and she just sits the pen in there until she's ready to clean up at the end. And then you don't get any kind of build-ups on your nibs. Especially this nib is particularly prone to that because it's so dainty. And I'm using Sumi, so that's even worse because it's kind of acid. So
Show the cup under the camera.
oh, this is a collapsible rubber cup that you can have in your kit, and they're just so useful. And go buy one at the new iron oxide store in Nanaimo is opening this week.
Yeah, but even if you order them online, they're only like $6.99. I've had mine for years, literally pushing it in and out. No wear or tear on it or anything. Love them.
But all the equipment in the world won't make you a great calligrapher. Only work does.
I bought everything in the world. That's what I do. I buy all the brushes, all the pens, all the
Thank you,
things.
everybody at home.
I'll do a
Keep
little-
working.
I'll do a little bit of editing.
Keep trying. And if you do want one of these marvelous nibs, let me know.
So we can take them home and practice with it, Judy? Judy, can we take your nib home and practice with it?
Sorry, I'm not hearing today.
That's okay. May I take the nib home and
Yes,
practice?
yes.
Okay, shall I stop the recording?
Thank you.